And so the story of Adam alayhi salam in Surah Al-Baqarah is not the story of the fall of man. It's not the story of the descent of man. It is the story of the rise of man and the ascent of man. This is the story of redemption, not the story of sin. This is not the story of original sin. It's the story of original redemption. And so Adam alayhi salam receives these words from his Lord, and his Lord receives him through these words, right? And so there is no inherited sin that Adam brings into the world, and this is a principle then in the creation, that la taziru waziratun wizra ukhra, that no soul will bear the burden of another soul. So it's not as Thomas Aquinas. Thomas Aquinas, he was the first person to actually promulgate this hypothesis regarding theology, that Adam was the first to sin. He was the first to bring sin into the world, and his sin is inherited through his children and their children and their children. And the only thing that will absolve humanity of that sin is the blood of a sinless man. And that is what justifies the crucifixion of Jesus. That's St. Thomas Aquinas. But if you have Adam who sins and is forgiven for that sin, then there is nothing to be inherited. There is no, what we inherit from Adam alayhi salam is not original sin. We inherit original innocence. And we come into this world with primordial purity. Every soul is born pure. Every soul is born pure. And we can even read this principle in the Old Testament. Let it not be said in all of Israel that the fathers eat sour grapes, and yet the children's teeth are on edge, right? The fathers will have to face the consequences of their actions, and the children will have to face the consequences of theirs. So if the fathers are eating sour grapes, the children's teeth have nothing to do with that, right? And so this is one of the very important differences between the narrative of the creation story in the Old Testament and in the Quran, which is sent to us as a clarification, as a confirmation for what is preserved, as a clarification for what has been changed over time, and as a clear guidance, and one that gives much hope, right? Much hope. For Adam was forgiven, Eve was forgiven. There was no sin to account for after Allah forgives them, because when Allah forgives, that sin itself is converted into a good deed for which the sinner is rewarded. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما.